We're going to start Chapter 19 in Bio 158. And Chapter 19 starts our cardiovascular system chapters. And this chapter deals with blood. So let's first look at the composition and functions of blood. So this is looking at the composition of blood. So if you take blood out of somebody and you put it into a centrifuge and you turn it on, the centrifuge spins around, and so the heavier stuff goes to the bottom, the lighter stuff stays here up at the top. So the typical volume amount of blood that we have in us is anywhere from 5 to 6 liters. For males, 4 to 5 liters for females. So about 5 liters per person. Now, just to give you an indication here, if you give blood, they take a pint. So I know most people don't think in liters, but a liter is a little more than a quart. So if you're giving away a pint, it takes 2 pints to equal a quart. So you're looking about a 10th to 11th of the blood that you have in your body. Now the pH of blood is typically anywhere from 7.35 to 7.45. We're going to talk about this later on this semester, but if it gets to 8, you're dead. If it gets to 6.8, you're dead. So a very narrow homeostatic range for that. If you really want to know how much blood you have, it's about 8% of your body weight. Okay, so when we take blood, we put it into a centrifuge. It's going to separate into 3 parts. So this lower part is where the red blood cells are, and this is known as the hematocrit. So this is a volume percentage of red blood cells within a sample of whole blood, and it's about 45% of what's in blood is our red blood cells. This little line right here is the buffy coat. So the buffy coat is a layer that contains our white blood cells and our platelets. Now our white blood cells are defensive cells, and our platelets cause blood coagulation, clotting. All right, now this is less than 1% of what's in our blood. Next is the plasma. So all of this up here is our plasma. So this is a fluid portion of circulating blood, and it's about 55% of the volume of our blood. Now let's look at the functions of blood. One is it transports gases, nutrients, and waste products. 2, it's going to transport processed molecules. So, you know, in some cases, we send a molecule to one part of our body, and then it gets converted into another molecule, and then it has to go to another part of our body and convert it to another molecule. It also transports regulatory molecules like hormones. It also regulates pH and osmosis. It maintains our body temperature by absorbing and distributing heat. It's going to help us protect against foreign substances, and it also has clot formation. Now, if you have the notes, the next thing I'm going to talk about is blood groups. I have another video that you should watch for blood groups. We're going to go ahead and move on and talk about plasma. So, looking at plasma. Plasma is mostly water. It's 91% water. It is clear and straw colored. Now, a lot of times people use clear for colorless. Clear means you can see through it, okay? So straw colored, it's like a light yellow color. So let's take a look at the proteins that are found in the plasma. So there are 3 main groups here. So the top group are albumins. These are the smallest proteins, and they're also the most abundant. They're going to be useful in helping maintain osmotic pressure in the blood vessels and tissues. So helping with blood pressure. So if we make more albumins, if we have more albumins in our blood, due to osmosis, it's going to draw more blood into water into the blood. Conversely, if we have less albumins in our blood, we're going to have less water. So that's going to influence our blood pressure. Next are globulins. You can see globulins there. These are going to transport lipids and fat-soluble vitamins. So lipids, fat-soluble vitamins don't dissolve in water. Plasma is mostly water. So we encapsulate them in these globulins so they can be moved around. They can also be, globulins are also used in immunity as they are antibodies. Some of these are antibodies as well. Next are fibrinogens. So fibrinogen there. This is a blood coagulator, so causes blood clotting. Now, fibrinogen is not the active coagulator. We're going to talk about that later on in this chapter. So, serum, by the way, is plasma without clotting factors. So we take the fibrinogen out of it. So let's take a look at lipids that are found in the plasma. Now, lipids are not soluble in water, so we encapsulate those in proteins, and so this makes a lipoprotein. So that's a lipid protein complex. And there are two types of lipoproteins. One are low-density lipoproteins, also known as LDLs. And this is a complex with a high concentration of lipids and a low concentration of proteins. So more lipids, you're going to have a lower density. So these are the major cholesterol carriers. Next are high-density lipoproteins. And this is a complex of, that has a low concentration of lipids and a high concentration of proteins. So they're high density, so they're going to have more proteins in them.